Hey everybody, I'm gonna do my first screencast here and show you how to use the Logger Pro software so you can analyze the video you shot hopefully. So you're going to first go to Insert and go down to Movie, and then you're going to have to find your file. If you're doing option 3, you can scroll down. You'll see they have some sample movies, and you can scroll through there and see what they have as well. But in my case, I saved it to my flash drive, so I'm going to open that. And then I have a few here, and this is the one you guys saw in class, the one on the trampoline. So I'm going to open that up. First thing you want to do is try to make the video as big as possible. On mine, it's about as big as it can go already, but go ahead and make it big. And then you'll notice right away you've got some buttons on the bottom: play, stop, rewind, and then these two will go forward and reverse frame by frame. And these are probably some of the most helpful, I think. So I'm going to advance frame by frame until I get to the point where you saw in class. I'm at the bottom of the jump, and you'll kind of notice that I know where that is because I'm not blurry. So I've stopped moving. You can see the trampoline's kind of depressing, and so right about there. So that's where I'm going to start it, and I'm just going to go through this for one jump. I'm going to analyze one jump. So what you want to do is you want to click on this button here, and you'll see that opens up some tools on the side. So I'll show you a few things you want to do. One thing you want to do is to go ahead and set the scale. And so you can do this later on, but ideally you'll do it when you make the video. Make a measurement. Ideally a measurement of the object you're gonna, collect motion on. So in this case, I'm gonna try to analyze the motion of my jump. So I'm gonna take the measurement of me. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click and drag. And basically this is like a ruler, and which is why the icon's a ruler. And I'm just telling the program, hey, this is how, this is my measurement, my length measurement. So you see that green line, it's going to ask me, okay, that green line then is how long? And I'm going to say 2 meters, which is just an estimate. You guys will want to do a better job of measuring. Think about the things you've been doing, measuring, go to the highest resolution possible, the highest degree of accuracy possible. So there we go, 2 meters. That's how long that line is. That's about how tall I am. So got that. Then you'll see these 3 buttons here. These just kind of show and make things disappear. So it says show that green line, show the scale. I don't want to see that green line anymore now that I've done it. So I'm going to click that button and it disappears. I'm going to do the same thing with the origin. So I'm going to set the origin. I would set the origin right where your point of reference is going to be. So in this little example, I'm just going to make the point of reference my nose. But there's better points of reference than that when you're dealing with people or other objects, and I can help you guys try to find a point of reference if you're unsure. But I'm just going to set my origin right where my point of reference is. That way when I do my first data point, it's going to be at the origin. So you'll see this kind of splits the video into 4 quadrants, just like a graph would. And just like that last one, you'll see this button that says show origin. Now that I've set it, I really don't care about seeing it, so I'm going to get rid of it. And then the last one here is toggle trails. You'll see as I start to collect data points, it'll start to put those points on there, and I'm going to take them off as I start to do it. So now once you've kind of set things up, now you want to add points. And so when you add points, again, my point of reference is my nose. I'm going to click once on my nose because that's my point of reference. And once you add a point, you'll see that it actually advances the video 1 frame. And you'll see I've got a data point on the graph, and I actually have some data. And so I'm going to turn this off for now, but you'll see I can turn it on later if I want to. And I'm turning it off so I can see my nose better. So I'm going to turn it off, and I'm still adding points. I haven't touched this at all. It's still collecting. So I just got to keep clicking until I get through the entire motion. So I'm going to click again, and there I move again. So it gets a little hard, as you can see, as things start to move, it gets blurry. You got to do your best here. So use your best judgment And here is where, again, a better point of reference might be a little better than my nose. But I'm going to click again, and so I'm going to keep doing this. You can still see data is being collected as I'm doing it. Okay. And I'm just going to go a little quicker here just because I'm just showing you the example. You guys want to do the best job you can. And so you can see again I'm starting to get less blurry. I'm starting to slow down because as soon as I leave the trampoline, the only force at that point that's acting on me is gravity. So gravity is slowing me down, and eventually it's going to cause me to fall back down. So kind of stopped there, falling back down now. And almost there. And like I said in class, you'll see when I sync this to the graph that this whole motion of jumping up and down is less than 2 seconds. So not very long at all. And I'm hitting the trampoline. Now I'm just going to do one more here, and then we'll call it good. I'll do one more. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to stop there. So when you hit this button on the bottom, sync movie to graph, I'm going to do that. So again, it's about 1.73 seconds, that whole collection. You'll notice I've got quite a bit of data here, like 30 points or so. So I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. So again, if I want to see these data points now on the video, I can press that button. If I want to see the origin, I can press the button. If I want to see that green line, again, I can press the button, but it doesn't really matter. So from here, you actually have all the data you need. We've got our position and velocity in both the horizontal and vertical direction, and we have the time. So there's everything there. And what else do we want to do? So we want one more. So with this data, we have everything we need to graph 2 of our graphs. So if you click here, you'll notice right now it's showing both the horizontal motion and the vertical motion, y. And so I told you guys you're going to get 2. Choose the more interesting one. If I click on here, you can see already the blue is way more interesting than the red. So I'm going to do it on the blue. And I'm going to go to more. And so you can go ahead now and do whatever graph. I'm going to get rid of the x and say, oh, I want to look at, basically my position or distance, kind of similar, in the vertical direction. Okay, so now I'm just going to see that blue line. Or I can go back and I can say, okay, now I want to look at velocity in the vertical direction. So there's velocity in the vertical direction. So you've got 2 of your 3 graphs. The third one is going to be acceleration. And so this is where we are going to have this program perform some calculus for us. So we're going to go up to data, and then we're going to go down to new calculated column. It's going to collect new data, and we're going to go down to functions. So I've been talking to you guys about what you've been doing, taking the slopes of things, taking the area under graphs. Those are 2 fundamental ideas in calculus, and you guys are doing calculus. It's just for very simple graphs. But when graphs get more complicated, like in this video, then we need it, to kind of really go into calculus. So when you take the slope of something, it's called taking the derivative in calculus. So we're going to take the derivative of velocity, in my case, y velocity, the vertical velocity. But you guys may find out that your more interesting one is horizontal, which would be the x. But again, I can help you out with that. Calculus then, derivative. And that's going to say, okay, take the derivative of what? So you got to go to variables then. So it's asking you in your data, the columns, what do you want to take the derivative of? So I want to take the derivative of velocity in the vertical direction. So there it is. I've got the derivative of that data, and I'm going to click done. And it's going to then make a new column. And there you see it in purple. It's a calculated column now. And I can already tell that these numbers are off, and the reason why is because my wife, when she shot this video, was moving. Even slight movements are going to throw these numbers off. So we talked about this in class, and Tessa actually recognized, hey, I thought you said you're supposed to have like the camera be still, and that's exactly right. So my video is not a good example of that. You guys want to do that when you do your own. So, but anyway, there's my acceleration. I can go back to the graph now if I want, and I can click here again, and notice it has calculated column now. That's what we just calculated, which is acceleration. So now we can look at everything. And I know this is correct because if I go back to velocity, you'll notice up here, kind of at the top of the hill, I know that the slope there is 0. So looking at this line, kind of right after this major grid line, I should see an acceleration of 0 right about here. And if we go ahead and switch to the calculated column, sure enough, right after that major grid line, this does cross at 0. So it did take the derivative of the velocity like I wanted it to. And you can see, even though these numbers are off down here, they're all negative. And this is true as well, because again, once the trampoline has kind of given me its force, after that, the only force acting on me is gravity, which is negative. And so that's why all this is negative, because after I leave the trampoline, gravity is constantly pulling me down. It was pulling me down too when I was jumping off the trampoline. It's just that the trampoline is providing an upward force as well. But anyway, so I've kind of shown you guys roughly the things you're going to want to do. You saw how to get the 3 graphs. You saw how to go ahead and analyze the video. And then from there, you guys are going to have to do some, cutting and pasting or drawing and do a few other things. One thing you'll have to do is kind of analyze this graph further into segments, okay, what's happening from this time to this time and what's happening from here to here. You'll want to break these graphs up into at least 4 segments, like I said. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you for now. There's also tutorials on YouTube that are even shorter than the one I just gave, so you might want to check those out as well. But hopefully this will be enough to get you guys started. I'm just going to move this to the back so you can see the video again here. So that's another thing you can do. Play around with this program. Move things around, try new things, play around with it. And then, you guys may decide later, hey, that wasn't that interesting. I'm going to try something else. So, okay, see you in class.